How's it going, ladies and bruises? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to the Divine Deception. We are once again basically keyless, for all intents and purposes. Like, yeah, we got bronze keys, but that don't matter shit. We need real keys up in here, which means we're going back to the hacker dude. Apologies, but hopefully we'll get ourselves a decent key. We can move on with Val's one, or we can move on with Lavatory's one. Either one. But for now, let's jump back into this one. Double down. What else? Seriously? Another big old video theorizing about the identity of the video auto-larcenist? People are still poking into that case? God damn. Well, I guess that's a little impressive. Anyway, Kamapa scrolling was turning out to be as typically uneventful as it often tended to be. Just some more time wasting. I decided to check my old emails inbox. Maybe the devil had a response. I remember the last email they sent to me. I just asked him about theories regarding the identity of this god of Panthea. He was happy to respond. And now we're getting to the interesting part. The identity of God. The most critical mystery Panthea hides from us. I've dedicated myself to finding them. Unfortunately, they've almost completely obscured their identity. It makes sense. They would not be able to reign for as long as they have, if they were sloppy. But they are not truly divine. Rather, they are human like you or me. Humans are flawed. Humans are fallible. And humans almost unfailingly will make mistakes. Somewhere in this city, a trace leading back to them exists. It's my sworn duty to find that trace. Laying it on a little thick, huh? I mean, I guess it's good to have a clear mission statement. But it sounds like if that's your sworn duty, you've been failing it so far. Here's what I assume to know about the god. It is my opinion that they are just someone like you or me. A seemingly ordinary person. Not a grand monarch or celebrity. Just a particularly intelligent citizen of Panthea. If a normal person was resourceful enough to understand where the locuses of power in the city reside, if they understood the advantages they could provide each other, well, it would take a lot of determination, hard work. But if you're intelligent enough, focused enough, even someone like you or me could set up such a network. Now, we can make some assumptions. Having this much power, naturally, they wouldn't be struggling. People grasp for power chiefly to improve their own station in life. However, if the god is smart, they might downplay their own finances, at least for now, to hide detection. But I doubt they'd tolerate absolute poverty. So a focused, intelligent, ordinary person of decent status who lives in Panthea. That is where my investigation web is currently fishing. When I read that, I remember audibly sighing. This guy really has a habit for seeing the forest for the trees. The idea that just some random guy could be behind things didn't track whatsoever. At this point I was being more or less honest with the devil, and consequently, I answer with pretty much my unfiltered opinion. I sort of get where you're coming from, however, are you sure that's the right conclusion? I mean, think about it for a second. I really doubt these angels would agree to this alliance without even knowing who they were working with. And people these influential, they could easily pull their resources to investigate who the god really was. Yeah, no, I really just don't see any situation where the angels are unaware of the god's identity. Which in isolation might not be a problem, but if the god was really just your average Joe Schmo, would they even tolerate listening to them? I mean, at the start, going along with the alliance makes sense, but there's really no reason to keep the rando in the loop after a time. They don't really add anything of value. More to the point, they're a liability. In fact, if I had to guess, they'd probably just assassinate the god. Ultimately, I have trouble believing this current explanation. So here's another idea. Why couldn't one of the angels you identified just be the god? That would make sense, right? I mean, a lot of them are already pretty big egos. It makes total sense to me that one of them would set this whole thing up. To be fair, it's kind of hard to pinpoint who the head exactly would be. Aja, Art, Marduk, I can see any of them leading the charge, or alternatively, maybe there isn't a singular head. I mean, it could just be a committee of powers. That actually feels like the most likely situation. It feels like some of these people wouldn't be likely to defer to others. They could just be meeting and coming to mutual agreements. The email I felt was fairly diplomatic, however it'd been quite a bit of time since I got getting a response. Had I offended him somehow by giving the lightest blowback? Or did he just have, life to deal with? That was a reasonable enough explanation. However, as I checked the email tab once more, it appeared I'd gotten a response. Lucky me. What now best pal the devil have to say for himself? It is a reasonable conclusion that you've come to. I understand why you fail to see the bigger vision. However, it isn't right. When you really look at everything in conjunction with each other, you begin to see the truth. It can't be a committee. It's too unified a vision. For a project like this, it needs a single helm. Ask anyone who ever worked on any creative project. Creative project? Democracy is nice, but to get shit done, you just need a tyrant. Someone to call the shots. Without a dedicated leader or director, the one who has an idea of the larger picture, things fall apart. There are countless stories of this. As for one of the angels being the god, again, it isn't a bad theory, but I just can't see it that way. After all, if that were the case, you'd see one of the factions getting an edge from this arrangement. However, there is a delicate equilibrium. He did name, Kane Shea as one of the angels, but he doesn't head a faction, unless you count the media as a faction, and he doesn't really head that either. There is a delicate equilibrium. This isn't serving towards any one person in power. Additionally, as you said, there are multiple big egos involved in this. None of them would willingly lower themselves to another big ego. That contradicts their view of the world. If they were to bow to anybody, it would have to be a neutral party, worthy of commanding respect. The god. And that's it. That's all he wrote. Seriously? Oh well. I must be forgetting the devil's bullshit. This wasn't a reputable source I was conversing with, he was a conspiracy nut. Still, these were particularly weak arguments. I thought him better. The idea that you couldn't properly rule a city by committee is laughable. A horribly tortured argument. The idea that... excuse me. The idea that the situation not favouring one faction in particular means that the god couldn't be a faction leader is ridiculous. As if that wouldn't be a result of the god making sure to stay fair, so as to keep the arrangement together. The idea that Marduk Araja wouldn't bow down to art or vice versa when putting together a city-changing conspiracy is a fundamental inability to understand human behaviour. I decided to tab over to my Kamapa account. I'd sent a message to Kara a while ago, and I hadn't got a response when I last checked it out. Which makes sense, she was busy. We hadn't talked since my role in the plan. Hopefully the USB drive I delivered to her would be useful. I mean, it's really a pain getting involved in that whole mess. Better have been worth it. Refreshing that page, it seemed I'd gotten a message rather recently. Well, isn't that just a case of good timing on my part? Time to see what she had to say. I was a little excited opening up the message. Thinking of the fruits of our little heist. Hopefully there'd be some juicy shit. Hey Olaf, good to be able to finally get a message to you. Sorry for being MIA for a while. Life's been busy, as you can imagine. I just wanted to thank you. Honestly, when you suggested helping out on the heist, I didn't know what to think. I thought you were just pulling my chain. Or worse, that this was some sort of trap. But you really came through. I mean, when we got to planning, it was like you were a completely different person. I didn't realize you could actually be serious. But you were. And hey, the plan didn't exactly go perfectly. On my part, I had to improvise some. Because of that, I kicked up a bit of scrutiny. They found out about the theft faster than I expected. Nothing led back to me, of course, but Art's probably going to be more on guard from now on. But all in all, I succeeded in my mission, and it was because of your help and suggestions, so thanks. Oh, thanks, Kara. It's nice to be appreciated. I'm curious about one thing, though. Why do the whole dead drop thing? I mean, fair enough. Wasn't a problem for me, and hey, maybe you're right that it was too much of a risk for us to be seen together after working together on the theft and all. But I don't know. It sort of seems all the more reason to at least meet face to face for at least a drink or two. After all, we already know each other's identities. Not quite, Kara. True, when you present a Purim account, I was taken quite a bit aback. Jesus, that's an interesting sentence. That bait was layered pretty deep. I made sure to connect it to my IP address in a pretty subtle way. You'd have to be a deft hand to make the connection and find that decoy account. But it was just that, a decoy account. Anyone who's been on the internet for any amount of time knows how vulnerable you really are on it. There are hackers everywhere. This much was only a sensible precaution. Maybe hiding my true identity from Kara wasn't strictly necessary, but as far as I was concerned, the longer you pegged me as the person from the dummy account, the better. Dead drop works much better for me. Anyways, not to put a damper on our parade, but I'm a little worried about what this info actually does. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a ton of shit on this. Like, oh boy, cavalcade of financial information, transactions, conversations, etc. If you're a Wall Street shark, this little info stick would be a veritable arsenal that would let you just wreck shop. I haven't even had time to look over it all. But there's one little snag. Colour me surprised, but Art seems to have been paranoid. Finding hide or hair on him in this is tricky. He's gone out of his way to distance himself from these transactions. In fact, as far as I can tell, he's even gone as far as planting some red herrings that seemingly contradict the idea that Art is behind this. Messages sent when Art was publicly accounted for. Information that Art should have known, and yet publicly, Art didn't take advantage of that knowledge. Nothing that can't be solved by some simple time-delayed messages and calculated losses. But if I didn't know for sure that Art was behind this, looking at all this, I wouldn't peg him as a suspect. Legally, I suspect this info is pretty impotent, especially with the super dubious chain of custody. Now, if we could have made away with the whole laptop, then maybe we could have got something done. But just this USB? Nah, just this won't work. We could instead go the public route, try defaming him, but that'll probably backfire as well. He's got teams of publicists and a decent reputation. Dumping all this info is revealing my hand, and if his team have remotely decent digital forensics, my identity. All in all, it looks like this wasn't the silver bullet I thought it was. Bummer. Oh well, that was sad to hear, but not entirely unexpected. From everything I knew about Art, he was the type to be thorough like this. Still, it was too soon to crack this up as a failure. I decided to draft up a reply. Hey Kara, happy to hear that things went well. Maybe now you're seeing my greatness, lol. But in all seriousness, I'm glad we were able to work together. Sorry about the dead drop thing. Like you said, I just thought being seen together was risky. Since we did, crime stuff. Maybe that was excessive, but live and learn, I guess. If you want to meet up IRL, just hit me up at some point. I'm free a decent bit. It really sucks about not being able to screw Art. Of course that asshole covers his tracks. It's very, very frustrating. Still, I think this is probably still a win. The end goal is just still to dispose Art, right? Well then, this still helps that. Like you said, this info should help for like trade dealings and stuff. You probably have some decent money being a higher up Olimpo person, right? And you're clearly smart. You just gotta make good on this info. And using your resources start snatching up stock. Don't know the stock situation Olimpo super duper well. I know you said earlier that the Deismans had a lot, but there's gotta be some up for public consumption. If you consolidate that, you'll get some amount of leverage. You don't even need to own it, just have temporary usage of it. Obviously that's just step one, but step one is a step, you know? Maybe I just don't want to feel like all our work was for nothing, lol. But I don't know. Your fight, you tell me if that makes any sense. And with that I sent the message. Hopefully it cheered Kara up, to some extent. You know, it was too sullen in here. I thought about playing some music, and it was at that moment I heard a knocking on the door. A knocking? It took me a second to actually register this. Someone was knocking on this door. Pretty much nobody knew about this place, which means... I sighed. Must be time. Well, I had to get over this at some point. Couldn't say I was happy about it, but oh well. Well, because of that fucking hidden camera. I can't believe I missed a hidden camera. Who puts hidden cameras in visitors' lobbies? No sense, absolutely no sense. Whatever. It was sloppy. Now I had to deal with this. Luckily, she told me about the visit. If I was caught completely unaware, I'd really be upset. Slowly, I closed my computer and stood to my feet. I wasn't exactly eager to go to the door, but I had to before long. I walked forward and grabbed the hotel door, and I opened it. I was greeted by 3 imposing figures. Hello? Are you Iris Smith? Yep. Good. Would you mind if we come in? We're acquaintances of your sister. We, have some stuff we want to talk with you about. I'll let out a long sigh. Fine. Fine, okay, not like I got anything else going on right about now. Might as well make yourself at home. Leaving the door open, I turned around and went to sit down on the couch. The officers made their way into the room, remaining standing. It was a nice place I was living in. One of the best hotels in Panthea. I had one of the best rooms. Nice large bed, freshly made. Mini cooler stocked with waters. Big window with a view of the city covered by curtains as they may be. They weren't good enough curtains though. Failed to really block out the light. I knew that because the light seeping through the curtains was the only source illuminating the room at present. This didn't last for long as Baldera walked over and flipped on a light switch. There, that's better. So nice to meet you, Eris. My name's Baldera. Grumpy Pants over here is Seth. Is that really my nickname? Could that not be my nickname? And of course we got Chief of Police Ariane. It's not often that I waste time with home visits like this. That right. And why are you here bothering me? I've taken an interest in your sister, so by extension I have some interest in you. Of course you have. Sorry, circling back, are we bothering you? Totally sorry about that. We really don't mean to. Just say it if we were bothered. Although you really don't have that much of a choice. Quiet you. Eris, I'm friends with your sister, so I'm sure we'll get along. If you're friends with my sister, then I'm sure we won't. Are you not close with Lavena? Not close. Try actively attempt to spend as little time thinking of her as possible. Huh. There's a story there. No, there isn't. Have you met her? Fair point. Well, anyway, why don't you tell me more about yourself, Eris? I'd love to get you know you better. What do you do for a job? Currently? I guess I'd be considered unemployed. That's an interesting way to phrase it. What a nice apartment for someone unemployed. Well, up until a short time ago, I was a lawyer. Really? Yep. Not the fun kind, though. Worked at a big corporate firm. Helped with shit like mergers and patents. Paid awfully well. But I mean, my god. There isn't a job on earth that'll suck your soul faster. Decided to bail, and I've been much happier since. Of course, I gotta do something before too long, else my war chest is gonna start running low. But for now, I'm just chilling. Impressive. You look a little young to be retired from corporate law. Thanks, I guess? So where are you from? I mean, you're not from Panthea, right? No, I'm not. Used to live in Hightower, actually. Oh, I know that city. I took a trip there once. It's nice. Then you weren't there long enough. But yeah, Hightower born. Laverna and I grew up there. There really isn't a real reason that we grew apart. She was just irritating to me. I mean, sure, it was a bit annoying that our parents always gushed about how gifted and talented she was when I was just as smart. And I am, for the record, graduated from law school, in case you forgot. But no, the real reason that we aren't close is we just had different values. She had a tendency to get all morally righteous, to poke in other people's business when no one was asking you to. A total snitch toward the teachers. And just like, weird. Like really weird. I don't know why. We grew up in the same place. I've got no idea why she acts like that. I don't know, she's just difficult to stand. I mean, did she ever tell you about her first investigation? How that panned out? Total train wreck. Come college time, we went separate ways. We've never really stayed in contact since then. That works just fine for me. Oh, nice to know that there was a normal one in the family. Seth, not nice. Hey, don't tell me you don't appreciate on some level someone who speaks normally. Oh my god, don't tell me she still does that faux accent thing. Holy shit, really? That's so embarrassing. Please tell me she's at least gotten better at it. Back in the day, I couldn't even tell what she was going for. I just felt vaguely European. That's what I'd classify it as. Jesus Christ. Laverna. I reached over to my water bottle and took a sip. Hey, she's just handling investigations, right? No active crime scenes, catching the culprit, anything like that. For now, correct. Keep it that way, would you? She's good at that. She's pretty smart. And say what you will, she's got a pretty big heart. She wants to help people, but despite all that, she's really dumb in a lot of ways that matter. I just don't want her getting in over her head or something. And knowing her, getting in over her head is like gut instinct. Aw, you really do care about your sister, don't you? That's sweet. I care about my wallet. Paying for a funeral is going to be a major headache. It's about as far as it goes. If you really cut her out of your life, then why'd you both end up moving to Panthea? I didn't have a good answer to that one. Okay. Enough pointless small talk. As you might have suspected, we did not come here for a house visit. You're currently a suspect on an ongoing case regarding property theft. Specifically, you're suspected of abetting a thief who made away with a data strip containing vital information. Top secret Olympo company secrets. Yeah, I know. Laverna told me all about this. Apparently someone swiped the data from the computer and put it on a USB stick and then threw it out the window. Now because of some stupid security footage, you think I have anything to do with the whole mess? Wasting your time. Laverna revealed all that to you? I mean, in so many words. That feels like it's bordering on breach of protocol. Having an investigator with a potential conflict of interest. Oh, ease up, Chief. She was just warning her sister that we're going to be asked what we're going to be asking her about. Where's the crime in that? Breach of protocol, as I said. Far be it for me to try and defend Laverna, but I don't exactly see the harm that could come from telling Eris just that much. Seems like pretty basic info. Thank you. Glad at least one of you has some sense. I also stood up here. Okay, you can get partial credit too. Enough. Answer the question, Miss Smith. You haven't asked one yet. Let me do your job for you though. What was I doing there? I was doing what I wanted. The Olympo main building's pretty. I was walking around the city, decided to check it out. Sat in the visitors room for a bit, lost track of time. You really gonna arrest me for that? Not for that alone. As far as I see, that's all you got. You wanted an answer. You got it. Sorry, but your accomplice must be somewhere else. Is that so? Unfortunately for you, it's not that simple. Based on my understanding of the case, and Ms. Vasquez, correct me if I get messed up somewhere, but I was absent for this particular investigation. But based on my understanding, we have a very specific time frame for when the data was dropped from the window. Based on when an employee was out getting coffee. You're in the visitor center during that time frame. Ah, what a coincidence. I was pretty zoned out though. The accomplice must have been a third party. According to the surveillance footage, you were the only person in the visitor center during that critical time frame. The only one. That seems weird. Well, I guess the accomplice just didn't stay in the visitor center. Are you suggesting the accomplice waded into the water feature to pick up the data strip after the fact? You got it. Surely someone would have seen such a scene. Any proof of that? Any account saying that someone didn't enter the water feature at some point that day? Another camera over there? Unfortunately not. Then I think we can't make a judgment call. If the data strip was not caught, it would have hit the cement floor. The water would not soften the blow by a significant amount from a high fall. Knowing this, it would be likely the data strip would be damaged. Yeah, maybe. But maybe not. There's some resilient tech out there. Your USB drives are pretty fucking sturdy. I think you can throw it out of a building. I don't think you can really make that argument definitively. A little insight from my time on the force. The ones who hide behind a lack of definitive proof are in reality guilty about 99% of the time. Hey, would you look at that? I'm finally part of the 1%. Dream come true. Cute. Seth and Baldera very specifically were kept keeping quiet. They just watched this back and forth with bated breath. Alright, fine. You really want to suspect me? Then why? Why? Why would I do this? How exactly did I get drafted to be a criminal's accomplice? Am I some contract thief? Do I have any contact with an Olympo employee? Can you tell me, Miss Smith? I do not know you. I'm unable to make such a judgment call. I gave a short whistle. Okay. You know what? That one's fair, you win that point. Let me flip your question back on you. Why did you take part in this theft? Money? A grudge? Can't answer that because I didn't do it. But I can flip the question one more time. Why do you care about this so much? Why do I care about solving crime? Are you aware of what police officers do? Yeah, you solve crimes, big whoop. I know your track record. You let plenty of crimes fall to the side. Crime's bigger than this. And yet you're making house visits to vague suspects over a bit of stolen property? Alleged stolen property, I might add? Unless I wasn't told something, the idea that a data strip was taken from the broken computer is pure speculation. What are you getting at? I don't think it's a coincidence you just so happen to care so much about what happens on Olympo's dime. Just admit it. You're just another one of their lapdogs. Another branch of their private investigators that wears a fancy badge. I'm no one's lapdog. It is pathetic that you have to devolve to baseless slander. I don't have to do anything. It sounds to me like you have to bail out your employer, Olympo. That's what's really going on, right? You can admit it. You're imagining things. Yeah? Then why haven't I seen one of those Olympo bigwigs in handcuffs? Don't tell me that office isn't a hotbed of white-collar crime. If you put your mind to it, you could probably walk half the top floor of that building out in shackles. The fact that you haven't tells me everything I need to know. Enough. Here we go. I'd annoyed Ariane to a breaking point. It is clear to me that this is a pointless meeting. You should pray that no further evidence shows up. If you are to be so lucky, then this will likely be our last meeting. I've wasted enough time. I wish you good day, Miss Smith. And just like that, she turned around and started to walk out. Don't let the door hit you. I had a feeling that if I poke Ariane enough, she'd just get up and leave, knowing that she had nothing definitive. Luckily for me, annoying people was a specialty of mine. Now I was just left with Baldera and Seth. Baldera naturally felt quite awkward. That could have gone better. Not my fault. Not saying that it is. Oh? So you think it's Ariane's fault then? No, not at all. Messy with her is turning out to be quite a bit of fun. Let me ask, do you agree with her assessment? Do you think I'm responsible for the theft? Well, probably not. Probably not. Yeah. Alright. I like that answer. Oh, good. I was afraid you would have been offended. Thanks a lot to offend me. Alright, well, this was nice. I have to get going though. I don't want to keep Ariane waiting for too long. But we should hang out sometime. You, me, your sister. We should have a girls' night out. It'd be fun. I'll think about it. There you go. I said I'd think about it. You'll come around. Okay, bye. And just like that, Baldera left my room. With that, I was left with one. Seth had been quiet for some time. I just crossed my arms. You still here for a reason? You care about your sister, right? I don't... Quit the shit. Give it to me straight. Yeah, okay. I'd rather not see her hurt if possible. If that's the case... Seth looked back and forth, checking for non-existent threat. You should try to convince her to back off. Back off? As you probably guessed, she's really inquisitive. Raises a lot of questions. That's not exactly safe around here. A detective isn't safe asking questions? What sort of system is that? It's the type of questions she's looking into. Look, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying Panthea doesn't have a good track record for things like this. People who pry into things tend to fade out of the picture, one way or another. I wonder, did that comment have anything to do with JC? Or someone else? It makes total sense that my sister is getting herself into danger, but we're not that close. If I could have reined her in, I would have done it a while ago. I get that. But still, you should try. If you don't, something might happen to her. There's nothing more painful than losing someone you're close to, and knowing that you could have saved them. Trust me on that. Fine, fine, you can't stop her from being her. Then at the very least you should let her know that she's surrounded on more sides than she thinks. She needs to keep an eye out. I'll let her know. Good. Okay then, I'll get out of your hair now. Seth awkwardly made his way out of the room. As he left, I gave him a message. Thanks for the tip. Seth didn't respond, just briefly paused before continuing his exit. Surrounded on more sides than she thinks. What are these sides? And why did he wait until the others were gone before giving me that message? Whatever, forget it. Because he's a duet lapdog. But he doesn't sound like that bad of a guy either. But then again, he wanted to murder people, so I don't know. I could deal with that whole encounter later. For now though, I just wanted to decompress. A good way to do that would be to spend some time on the computer. I opened it up and put on the music that I said I would. Music helped me think. Music kept me in the groove. Okay. Feeling better already. What to do? First up, I should probably respond to the email the devil sent. I didn't really have much to say though. I considered for a minute how to proceed. Then in defeat, I just went to the tab. Whatever, I'll just be diplomatic. Maybe... It's a confusing situation. I can agree that, at the very least, there isn't a clear solution. But I still think the problems I brought up with the theory that a complete stranger is the god hold up. I just can't picture that. It's possible that I have less perspective on this whole issue than you do. Even still, I really think you might be overconfident in your interpretation. With so little known, it feels weird that you seem so certain. Could be mistaken though. And with that, I sent the email. It was about as diplomatic a message as I could manage. Fundamentally, we just had different opinions on the matter. There was no getting around that. I tabbed over to Kamapa. Curator responded. This felt like a more fruitful conversation. Let's see, where was he head at? I might take you up on that offer for drinks one of these days. We'll probably be too busy for the foreseeable future though. I'm one step ahead of you on the whole stocks idea. Like you suggested, I've already been trying to consolidate as much stock as I can in my free time. Info like this will definitely be useful leverage in that whole struggle. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Nothing is, for fuck's sake. As much stock as I collect, it'll be pretty tricky to do anything unless I get at least 2 of the Diesmans on side. I actually give you some idea of how much they hoard their shit. I'm pretty sure at least 2 of said Diesmans are complete dead ends. Which means the strategy revolving purely around gathering stock is kind of dead in the water. Luckily, there are still other avenues to pursue. Most that have any chance of success involve coming to art directly. Scary prospect to be sure. They're all pretty half-baked as well, but I'm going to keep at it. One success propels to the next, you know? What a nice optimistic message looking to the future. Almost felt out of character. Still was good to hear. I quickly shot back a reply. Good to hear. Excited to dethrone the douche. It'll be hard, but so's everything worth doing. Obviously, you know more about the situation than me, but if you need some anon help again, you know how to hit me up. I got your back. Good luck. And sent. Hopefully she got the sense that I wanted to earnestly help. I mean, of course she would already think that, because you already committed dirty crimes with her. I felt like she already thought that, but a little reinforcement never did anybody wrong. Oh, what's this? A reply from the devil? This fast? Sort of unexpected, but okay. Let's see what he's got for us. Opening the email, I wasn't expecting much. And sure, I wasn't greeted by much. A short message and an attached file. You need perspective. Very well. I'll let you peek at one of my cards. A recording for your ears only. And that was it. Well, now I had to hear this recording. How? The recording was encoded with some encryption bullshit. This is what the devil meant by your ears only? Damn paranoid conspiracy theorist. What if I wasn't gifted with hacking? Well, I suppose it was something of a moot point, after all I was. To work I went. Actually, before I forget, I should mention this puzzle also has blue tiles which have numbers in them. Alright, so, you know how I said that live regions can't have more than one numbered tile? So I guess I kinda lied. See, blue tiles with numbers in them can be added to the live region. So if there's a blue tile with a 3 on it, the tile can be included in another live region. And that region will contain 3 more live tiles. Well, can. Actually, blue tiles have to be added onto another live region. They're like parasites. Or Trojan viruses. That's hackery. Whatever, you get it. Get to work. I'm not sure that I do, but of course I'm going to cut here and I'll bring you back when I fail to do this like last time. I still swear I had the right answer last time. But that's beside the point. I'll bring you back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Part of the same thingy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right. 2, 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No funny blocks. This looks right to me. Let's find out. And it's marked as wrong again. I don't understand. Does it not count this one? Alright, I give up. I can't do it. I apologize. We're just gonna move on. I cannot figure out how to straighten this 7 if indeed that is the problem. I've tried a bunch of different times trying to flatten everything out, but I can't figure it out. I just can't do it. Moving on. It took some effort. Better be worth it. With a chip on my shoulder, I pressed the play on the audio file. As I listened to it, it ended up being the audio of a one-sided conversation. Now I'm all out of kilter now. From sitting here for half an hour trying to do that. This is on easy mode, might I remind you. I didn't recognize the gruff voice, but by the end of the clip, I can make a pretty good guess at the mystery man's identity. It really is a pain. I mean, God, I'm the leader of the most fearsome gang to ever rule Panthea. Do I really have to listen to... Yeah, I know all that. Didn't you lecture me about respect? I understand it better than anyone else. Yes, results, I understand. Still, it's a matter of pride. The clip cut out there. Did Marduk, the leader of the duets, just confess that he had to listen to somebody else? Huh. Maybe the devil knew what he was talking about. So we got ourselves a lawyer, huh? That's something. You know, people really seem to hate lawyers. They say that they belong in hell, that they're actually demons. Modern culture even likes to depict contracts as a signature weapon of Satan. Legal systems and hellish creatures are inextricably linked, for whatever reason. Probably because both have to do with judgment and people are uncreative, but I digress. Lawyers are simple devil's advocates. So could I just say, as a big Satan fan, I'm offended. Don't pin that shit on us. Are you kidding me? If you ask me, lawyers are far more aligned with the angelic figures. They enforce rules. They forget human emotion. They protect the status quo. You could call a lot of them God's emissaries. But that's a much more fitting moniker if you ask me. So much more scolding too. But no, I'm surrounded by Puritans. They don't see things clearly. But you're not like them, right? Right. Good. So, to learn Eris was a lawyer, well, who knows? She used to be a lawyer. Now she's interfacing with the devil. So there's hope for her, I think. We didn't get a key again. Fuck. And I didn't solve the puzzle. Apologies for that once again. Let me know where I fucked up in the comments, please. It's always nice to know. I guess we're continuing with this one. Oh no, it's got a gold lock. I guess we're not continuing with this one. We're starting one of these ones, because that's all we've got left. Till then, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking out for me, and I'll see you in the next one.